Hello and welcome as it is the 30th day of May 2019. My name is Derek. All bets, trades of the like, well, that is within each his own risk and well, their own reward as well. And it's big that I say that because I say that practically, if not every single video, at least the ones where risk reward management should be played. And risk reward management for me is always job number one. I say that here and there quite often as well. And one of the things I've been just searching because I've been looking at, well, mainly comes from the XBY, and unfortunately, it does seem as if that is a coin that's a scam coin, as might this one as well. I'll show you the information that I've seen. You can make your own determination, as that's what I did when I've seen the information. Is I've made my own determinations, and of course, I'm always going to make my trades based on the risk reward management and how I see the message of the market and all the factors that are available to me. And I'm going to go through some of them within this video. So as far as SkyCoin is concerned, the setup is magnificent. I'm in at a very, very good position considering I've already sold some. So I originally got in at 202, so my net average is below that at this point. And therefore, I'm going to play for this for the best possible game, but I really have to play this bear market strategy. If not, with the next big push from what I feel a breakout of this resistance to be, just say, okay, that's my profit. I am out of here, baby. And that's probably what I'll end up doing. Overall, I mean, this has been going down big. And I mean, I could be missing out on gains up to here. So, I mean, I'm going to always adjust risk reward management. What I could do is I could take off. I mean, I only put like 0.4% of my portfolio. I could put out, like, if I get a chance to pull 150% out of what I put in, take that out and play it on from there. I'll see as time goes on because I'm always adjusting to the message of the market. But I like this setup, how it's been playing with the 18 from the point A low, point B high, point C correction, and point and situation D breakout, however you want to call it. To me, it's looking very fine. 4 hour term time frame, how it's been showing a lot of strength and breaking out from this 18 average of highs after multiple hits at between 230 high and up to about 260 area. So a lot of big times hit there, continuing a nice little upward pattern, higher lows. This low to but I mean, it's just numerous. I haven't seen any real lower low at all amongst this. If anything, this one to this. But I mean, what's the low next from this one? It's this here. Then it's this. And then maybe if you want, you can count this breakout low, or and then you got this low, and then maybe you want to count this low, and then maybe you want to count this low. And I don't even know. I mean, I guess if this breaks out, we'll count this low, but if it goes down, well, the last higher low is 230 right now. Now, as far as some posts, like what I've been doing, because I'm going to get to XBY in a bit, but I'm doing just searches for just so many random coins. And I would do the coin name, scam, and Reddit in the Google search, because Reddit had a lot of good information on XBY, although that will not be the link I'll show you originally, although I will show you two links, one being a Reddit one as well for XBY. I'm going to show two links on Reddit for SkyCoin. And amongst it, it is SkyCoin Scam Reddit, as we can see here. I've already got a couple clicked. I'm going to go to the newest one first. And it says SkyCoin seems to be the worst type of exit scam. I've been doing some research on SkyCoin after seeing it shelled heavily on Twitter recently, and what I've discovered has raised a lot of red flags. This is a brief summary of my findings in bullet form. I can go more into detail and link to evidence for every one of these if anyone would like to learn more about the shady project. I'm just going to scroll down, and if you want to see this, you can search it as I did or search the title. But this is a list of the information. You can pause and read the information as you please. And then a previous one, this is 11 months ago. And I look at okay, it's 11 months ago. So this is warnings have been given out for a year, and it's been going down a lot too. So that's definitely of key consideration. And I bought it because I realized okay, a high risk, high reward. I realized big gains can come into play. I like the short term setup, and I was right about the short term setup. So I'm gonna play this as like a day trade most likely in that area. I've also got a small amount that someone else that as a friend of mine is playing. I mean, really small. So he's up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll say, you know what? Let's just wait for that position, and you know what? Just sell it all for BNB, something like that. And now let's move on to XBY. We're going to use the US dollar chart on coin market cap from start to finish. And as I seen this originally, I was let in by somebody who I think like a lot of people, got fooled by a lot of this information. And I'm going to go through a lot of it, but obviously well enough for the point where the market had these huge gains. Whole point is, if you're able to get in there, the whole level is always profit taking. And when stuff like this happens, I'm ahead of the situation. But if I go through the timelines, I was really concerned, and I was so hopeful that it wouldn't work out, but I was really concerned in this area here that this thing was not looking so good. And the reason why was because these big informations and technologies and news was supposed to be coming. It was already delayed by like 1, 2 months and everything, 3 months. I'm like, why isn't it here? Where are we going on these nice exchanges kind of deal? Oh, big information's coming. Oh, the market goes up. Oh, okay, then that's fine. And then the fortunate thing was because I was a little cautious here. I most certainly did not short sell during this run. I made some very good profits because of the fact that they were available. But I actually still, because of the large position size, was holding a good amount. And then in here, um, I mean, the crypto markets in itself are faltering. So I was like, well, I can't give it I got to give it the benefit of the doubt because all cryptos are falling. But with that being said, I'm thinking this is a short setup, and I know I wasn't using this chart, but it was breaking down on a key level against and I got that chart up anyway, I think. But it looked like it was around I don't know, 1,500, 1,200. I think it was like time to short, or well, short as in sell. Look to buy back cheaper, which is what I did, and of course I did get it cheaper. So then, as this time is coming through, there's basically only been like, they just talk a lot about these different patents and different stuff, and well, it's not coming. And then I was hearing late November that things were supposed to get big, like into the end of the year. Nope, that did not happen. And then came this moment here, which was really a two event situation. Because on the 14th of January, the Cryptopia had everything shut down on them, and it's just been a mess ever since that point. But in the many of hours beforehand, which I don't think is a coincidence, it's only that a coincidence. Rather, I think it's a coincidence. I don't think it has anything to do with what they know together. But no, yeah, I don't think it has anything to get together because of what I'm going to follow through on. But beforehand, the price action in Satoshi against Bitcoin was 300. And let me just and before I do that, let me just point out that everything's around $1 now, and it's or penny rather, $1 for 100. I'll say to correct it, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm going to move this chart to Bitcoin. Okay, there we have it. So as this point in here was coming on, apparently I was like late at the end of 2018. Things were like November. It sounded like October, November, December was supposed to, but nothing of anything transpired. The volatility was getting very small. I was not getting any sell orders filling. And then on this particular moment, and you see the line, that's because Cryptopia basically was done. But in the hours before then, there were large sales as the price action went from 300 and it went all the way down to 200. And then after that, what happened was somebody put a sell order in. And I wish I took a screenshot of it, and I had so much time to do so uh, many weeks and months ago, as of the sell order, where somebody put a sell order for, it was a lot, like multiple Bitcoins worth. Like we're talking like, or better yet, many millions and millions of XBY, like 10, 20. We're talking like something that could be CC Revolution or any of those big people, or any of those people that are working behind the scam. But that was going on beforehand. So then it shut off, and we're going to get to the coin exchange in a little bit. But thankfully, I was able to ensure that I was able to buy low, sell high, where I was able to profit from starting here and exiting just yesterday. And what happened, of course, is it went on Coin Exchange. The only people that could put coins on there were people that had coins on their hardware wallets. So mainly the big players, the large investors, the traders that like to have coins on their hardware wallet, and of course, when they were trading Cryptopia, now they got another venture as well. So that would have been about it. But the majority of traders had their and still and have always had their coin locked since January 14th. There has been no way of doing anything with them ever since, even though Cryptopia went back on trading for many, many weeks during like somewhere around this time. And because of that, there's nothing you can do. They can't bring supply into the market. All the buyers that really like that coin, well, they're not liking it too much because, well, they already had this shit happen to them on Cryptopia. Now it's on Coin Exchange. What's the big difference between the two? They're both small exchanges that it's really, really tough to trust. But the risk reward is I've profited on Coin Exchange. I'm net up on Cryptopia, I think. I definitely am. However, in an advanced situation, I could say I could have put my funds somewhere else and still profited more, given what I've lost at the very end on Cryptopia. I had a four-figure sum of XBY value before this happened, and I don't know what my sum's going to be because maybe I'll get them back. It's going to be many months, as they state, before things will get resolved. So if there's going to be any bull market runs, is XBY going to really follow suit, especially with the information that has been posted on the internet? With the first one being, I got two links. One is from Medium.com, and it's called Extra Bytes Update 2 Scam. So we got some ratings, a whole bunch of low ones. Almost 6 months has passed since the last BD ratings review of Extra Bytes. This article is due April 25th, but due to the nature of the content, it might as well be published a couple days early. The price predictions have turned out correct so far. So they had April 25th, the price of Satoshi 996 down to 523, and April 23rd down to 159. It's going below 100 probably, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. BD Ratings started reviewing the last 6 months of the Extra Byte projects a day or so ago, documenting the official information from the team's blog posts, Reddit threads, and their implication. It wasn't until late into the research period, when scanning non-moderated Reddit threads, that it became clear that Extra Bytes is run by scammers. BD Ratings will publish the original review period documentation another time. And instead, outside the scam in this article, other fundamentals are currently of little interest. Now, this one here is what really, really was like a wow kind of deal. There's a YouTube video here dated July 24th, 2016, almost 3 years old. It's entitled Bitcoin and Cryptocurrency Powerful Entry Point. And it has a username MIGPro7 with a man driving a car. And he's doing a video log on his car, whatever. But this is the same guy that has the exact same guy on the Extra Bytes channel that really has been just silent for so long. In 2017, they were posting a lot of stuff. I was a little irritated by one of his videos in 2017 as what he was saying. Like just one weird, it's a stupid thing in the sense of, but not in that he says, "Oh, by the way, we're thinking about doing a contest for XBY." Okay, that's a good idea. We'll go ahead. And then all of a sudden they announce, "Oh, here are our winners." And I'm thinking, well, when was the contest announced? I would have not only went in it, but helped promote it, I was thinking. And then, okay, so I signed up for the next contest, and there never was anything else about it. I'm like, what is up with this? So after hearing that, and that was my last memory of that guy's voice, because like myself, I mean, I put my face on here before. Uh, he went by like a synonym of CC Revolution, but his name has been Dave Bergsma. So this has all been found, and he's got a history. And I'm just not going to read most of this from here on in. He's got a history of just doing a lot of scams, and before XBY started, it was called Bitmax, and it was on the CSEX, C/CEX exchange. And it just seems when I read this that they've done a good job so far, but with the scam, but you can't keep it going as it seems. Now another page is on Reddit, and there are about 4 or 5 good pages out there. But there is one. Is it not? It's not this one. There's one link where it's, I don't know if it's real, but it's a text message from CC Revolution saying I'm going to sell all my or sell a lot of my XBY, which would be this summer. And this was weeks and weeks and weeks before this was December, so this was weeks before Cryptopia had that event. Now, if there's any kind of hand in hand stuff with Cryptopia and XBY people, I'd have to say no, unless that they started it like in the summer of 2017 at the earliest, because this was on one exchange at the start. That was on CSEX. Then it moved on to Yobit. Then months later, it went on to CoinEx. Months later, it went on to Cryptopia. Shortly after that, CSEX had a huge problem. They pretty much, it was over there. And then a little after that, even though Yobit still barely trades it, it was over on Yobit, giving Cryptopia the monopoly on the trading market. And that's, of course, a big problem with now Cryptopia having the major security breach and being down for a significant period of time. Now let's take a look at this chart on CoinExchange. And this is, I mean, they got it back. So or January 14th, the market, well, it shut down, Cryptopia. So about a month later in February, it gets listed on CoinExchange, a very similar style exchange. I've dealt with them since mid 2017. I have never ever had a problem, but I never had a problem with Cryptopia until the event either. So it's always going to be that way until you do have a problem, and sometimes it only takes one problem to be significant. Amongst such, like I've stated before, if you can get into something and you get the early moves, how do you lose? Early move, buyback, early move, early move. And then what has been going on is it's been grinding its way lower. We resisted 250 for the last time in April, in the first half of April. And since then, the resistance has been playing in form. However, this level of support it's almost a descending triangle. And the lows are minorly getting lower. It hasn't touched 100 yet, but we could be hitting at any time. And if that situation happens, that's going to be a really devastating situation. And I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. But before I do, the biggest one apparently was the mid-April, the April patents. I mean, literally. And I was even saying, if it doesn't, I mean, it's 100% has to go through. With all this Cryptopia crap going on, I was in the hopeful event that, okay, coins will come back from Cryptopia, April, May, June, July, whatever, June, July, August. It'll come back at some point in that level. And of course, what's going to happen? Well, first, if Cryptopia, the way I was looking at it originally, if Cryptopia was going to get back online before the mid-April event, which I was pretty much around in here, then what was going to happen was knew they were going to sell it down on Cryptopia. I was going to try to buy as much as I can and then just go on from there. And if Cryptopia would open it first before that event, then I was thinking, okay, that's what's going to happen. But I realized, well, what happens if they don't, which has been the case? Well, the way I look at it there is, well, then if the whole patent stuff and everything they're talking about is legit and they put it through the market, well, this thing is going to go way higher on CoinExchange. And I'll trade it amongst the such, realizing that I got a very large accounts receivable of XBY from Cryptopia. And if, say, it were to have worked out that way, it would have gone up because patents went through. You go to 3, 4, 6, 700, and then at that point there, you see maybe July, November even that Cryptopia gets back, and this thing is at 1,000 or 2,000. Well, then I'm going to be glad I have it because it ain't going to be selling down there anymore. But those didn't go through, and now we are moving into the month of June, and it's been a month and a half. And a lot of the things you're going to see on the Reddit posts is they just keep on delaying stuff like that over and over again. So unless they can find some sort of devious way to get people in, I don't see how there's going to be really any further momentum much at all. We may never see prices above 150 as we stand now, but if this breaks below 100, we may never even see it back in triple digits as a possibility. Let me show you some reasons possibly why when looking at the order book. And what we can see here is the sell orders and the buy orders. Now, when you look into their Twitters and their web pages, they don't seem to they seem to think that this is tradable on Waves exchange, a decentralized. I tried to go on there. I found their exchange. I don't see any XBY there whatsoever. So the only place I can know of where you can buy and sell this is that of coin exchanges I'm showing now. Now, with that being said, we can look at these buy orders. And amongst such, there is 0.42 Bitcoin available. That's the most you can get. If you have millions and millions and millions and millions of these, you have more than you need, because I don't think there's a million available to buy unless you go to the really cheap, like 5 and 1. I don't even know what's even the XBY count here is. But all you can get is 0.42. But what's of note is the gap from 100. Right in here. And on that gap, there's only 15,000 at 73. There's only 6,000 at 72. Then it drops to 61, where there's only 196. Then it drops to 55, where there's only 2264. Then it drops to 41. I mean, there's like nothing there. And anyone who wants to sell, I don't know why you would sell, other than the fact that you can sell 15,000 at 73 and 6,000 at 72. And they might even do that. But this is the main group of buy orders here. It's coming in tight. We're having all of these sell orders fill. Go sell fill is in lowering in price. 148 they're hitting. 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 30,000 at 117. So there's people aggressively looking to get out of this market. But when looking at this factor, we can see there's not much at 109, but it's all a range. It's pretty much all in the area of the same as we're going to look at it. There's 18,000 at 107. There's 15,000 at 103. There's 40,000 at 102. There's 70,000 at 101. Then there's a large amount of 216,000 at 100. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets taken out. And then at that point there, maybe buy orders will fill higher, and they may even take out this. But what's going to happen if, say, that did happen? You might see in here that the sell orders might go to like 90 and 80 and definitely 100. So that's why it may never, ever get below it. And what's going to save it? Well, it has to happen. What has to happen is people got to get their Cryptopia XBY back. Or they got to come up through so much magnificent stuff. But there was a large percentage of the XBY that were held hostage, and for that matter are now extendedly being held hostage on there, with no guarantees you're going to get them back. Because again, everything on the Cryptopia mess is just that, a monstrously large mess. So the way I look at it is, I might as well take what I could and turned into Bitcoin Cash. We'll see how that works instead. But risk reward management in sites like this, oftentimes you need to have orders in anyway, because the bid ask ratios are usually out of whack, and they'll just buy it up. And I mean, it trades maybe 4 or 5 times a day, or 0 times, or 12 times. And then sometimes when it does, there's just big trades coming in, and well, that's why you want to have your orders in for it. But that also means you need to have funds on the exchange to do it. And when we look at 2,213 cryptocurrencies, how many of them are actually going to survive a year, 2 years, and 5? Let alone 4 months or 3 months. These higher cap ones, there's a lot more that, like Bitcoin, let's say for Bitcoin or XBY. And that's where when you look at risk reward management, when you're risking stuff like LITECOIN, and you're risking stuff on Ethereum and Bitcoin. And EOS, I've heard a lot of trashy stuff about as well. There's a lot of people saying that that's a scam coin, and it would be at a higher level of extreme because it's number five. A Bitcoin SV, there's another one that might be on that list. I don't know. Tether's got a lot of conspiracy stuff about how it's not fully backed. And on this list, I mean, there could be several that's in the top 100, 50 even, let alone ones that are ranked 200 and 500 and 700 and 2,213. This number probably will still continue to go up. I don't know. But I do think that playing the safer coins, the Litecoins, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, even Ripple probably isn't. I mean, it's much, much better, I would think. Bitcoin Cash, a Binance coin, that's like trading it in the Binance point of view. And this is the interesting thing about Binance coin. Because if you buy it, at least for the purposes of your fees, you get, it's almost like you get a 25% fee. Like, so, well, if you buy it at, say, 1,000 basis points, whatever, just for easy math, because you're getting a 25% discount on trade, if price action falls from 1,000 to 750, that means you're paying the same at that point for rake or for fees. But if you buy it and it goes up, that means your rate cost or his fees are even cheaper. And I'm sure there's a lot of other applications used within Binance, but they're getting big. So if Binance works out, great coin. And if not, well, probably it's going to be going down bad. Bitcoin Gold, I've heard a lot of bad things about that, but hey, maybe it might work out. Who knows? There's a lot of coins on here that will go through problematic points. So uh, that's all I'm going to say for this video, and I will talk with you later on in the day. Bye bye.